It's time to get inside the Giants Huddle.
Let's go!
On Giants.com.
I like it.
And the Giants mobile app.
Boom, give me some juice.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's roll.
Welcome to our Friday edition of the Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants. I am John Schmeelk. It is our audio-only edition, our usual Friday fare. We have our long player interview with Wan'Dale Robinson about what's going on at the quarterback position, his season, the wide receiver room, and a little bit on the Bucs as well. We're going to have a closer look at the Buccaneers with Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, and then we will hear from Brian Daboll, who was interviewed by the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa. Let's lead off with Wan'Dale Robinson. Now we're joined by Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale, how are you, man?
I'm doing well.
How was your bye?
Bye week was great. Got to just spend some time at home, just relax, let the body recover. So
yeah, and then you get back and it's nice and calm. Nothing, no big news. Nothing's going on. Yeah. So how did you react and find out about the news with the quarterback change?
I found out just from everybody. Dave's whenever we had our team meeting, letting the team know, and reaction was I was kind of surprised, but then again, at the same time, you never know what may happen coming off a bye, and obviously they had said that they were going to look and evaluate things. So knowing that we had some history with Tommy and had some good games last year, just excited for him to get out there.
Yeah, the reaction to something like this is tough, right? Because, Daniel's been doing this a long time. You guys have had success with him. We all know how hard he works, and he's got all the tools. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think, and you'll understand this, averaging the fewest points per game in the league, the record. So how do you kind of square that circle as a player when you hear that they're making that sort of change?
You just got to look at it like at the end of the day, just keep going out there doing your job. And as a receiver, doing everything you can to help Tommy make his life a whole lot easier. Being open as much as possible, just allowing him to have an easy target to get to. And at the end of the day, just kind of trying to get a little spark and go out there, put some more points out there on the board. So.
And we'll get to Tommy in a second. Last one on Daniel. Just to give fans out there an idea, the amount of respect that the teammates have for him in there. Mm-hmm. Why is there so much adoration and respect for Daniel in that locker room? Not just from you guys on offense, but from guys on the defensive side of the ball too.
Just the way he comes in every day. He's the same person, even whenever the I guess you so-called benching has happened. Still one of the first guys in. Whenever I'm pulling in, you see his G-Wagon, you see his car right there. So nothing's changed with him. But just even from the start of the season, OTAs, he's always been the same guy, just coming into work, doing everything he could, recovering from the ACL, making sure he was ready for week one. Everybody just always sees that and sees how hard he works, and just has a tremendous amount of respect for him.
And how much is it his play style? As a quarterback, he got the angry run thing 3 weeks ago. He's lowering his shoulder. He's running over linebackers. We're always begging him to slide. He doesn't want to slide. He's 230. He runs like a running back. Is it the way he plays the game part of it too?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of times you can tell not a lot of stuff phases him, and he tries not to let the outside noise get into our locker room, and just being an ultimate leader and just trying to lead us by example, and just doing everything he could out there on the field. All
right, let's talk about Tommy. You had a lot of experience with him last year. What does Tommy DeVito bring to the football field that allowed him to help you, win 3 straight games with him last year?
Tommy brings some swag to him. He just whenever he's out there playing, you can kind of tell that he plays just a little bit more swag than a lot of other quarterbacks, and he just has the confidence out there. So a little bit of a gunslinger, and sometimes, as a receiver, we like that a lot and just kind of giving us some chances. But I think Tommy's doing extremely well right now. So,
what do you mean by swag? Define that for me.
It's hard to define. It's just like you just kind of see it in your quarterback, and whenever you're out there as receivers, you can definitely tell whenever your quarterback's just kind of out there confident, just kind of bopping around, and it's kind of like, this guy he's in a groove, and you can just kind of tell whenever the ball's coming out of his arm, he has some confidence with it. So.
No, I talked to Tommy in the offseason, and when you're in the middle of it, you really can't tell. But when he looked back at it, his rookie year, he's like, man, I just got thrown into the deep end, and that was tough. And it was drinking out of a fire hose, and it was really, really difficult.
Yeah.
But he says now it's so much different, having done it, been in games, getting all these snaps. And that was even before training camp, right? Yeah. He felt so much more comfortable. So where have you seen the progress that Tommy's made from year 1 and year 2, even just from the reps you had with him in OTAs?
He just has a way more command in the offense. Knowing where guys are supposed to be, letting us know if we're not in the right spot or things like that, or how he wants a certain thing. It's been really good to see him like that, and just see the growth that he had from last year. Obviously, I can't imagine being a rookie quarterback in this offense and everything, all the reads and everything you have to know. So, just having another year under his belt is obviously going to do wonders for him. So.
How does that actually show up on the field? Is it stuff fans will notice, or is it like pre-snap stuff where maybe he has an option of 2 plays and he's picking the right one that fans don't even know he's doing that? Like, where is that going to show up?
Yeah, I don't think to the naked eye, just a regular fan will be able to notice. And I think more so whenever we come in and watch the tape and you're just like, okay, this guy made the right read right here, or I didn't even think he was going to make this kind of read, but it was the right read. And defense might be showing you one thing and you get a whole different other, and you got to make a read the whole other opposite side of the field. So I definitely think he's doing a really good job right now, though.
Now, I feel like you kind of got going last year, right? Coming back when Tommy slid in there. I'm sure some of that was coincidence, just with you were feeling healthier and it kind of came in there together. But does that give you a little bit more confidence now with him sliding in, that you guys have a good rapport?
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I mean, it's nice knowing he's one of those type of quarterbacks. It's like, hey, certain plays, I know you're getting man, I'm coming to you, and so it's stuff like that, with that you have real confidence in your quarterback, and it's like, I got to go out here and get open for this guy, and scramble plays. He might just give you a chance on the field, just go make a play. So Tommy's doing it.
I know it's just the spring and there's no pads and a lot of it is install, it's basic stuff. But the fact that Daniel was still rehabbing in the spring and him and Drew were splitting reps with the ones, is that going to have a meaningful impact, in your opinion, on his ability to slide in there and having some more chemistry with you, Darius, Malik, and the rest of the first team guys on offense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think no matter when you got the reps, as long as you were getting them, it's going to be a lot easier to get accustomed to it. And obviously me, Slay, and Jalen having Tommy for however many games last year is going to be a big help for us, because obviously we know how games can go and how he's going to be in games and things like that. And I mean, it's been good for us in practice, and it was really good for us in OTAs as well.
I know the media has written a lot about it, and a lot of that's conjecture, but when I stepped into the locker room on Wednesday and Tommy did his little press thing and the thing, everyone's loud, they're laughing, they're yelling. Like, this doesn't seem like a downtrodden locker room to me. It seems like you guys are rallying a little bit, no?
I mean, the reality of it is we know we shouldn't be what our record says. So we feel great going into a lot of games, knowing that we have an opportunity to win and go out and showcase what we can do. Just each and every week, we just got to go out there and prove it. And we're not down and out about it. So, I mean, we're still having fun. We're all loving up on each other in the locker room, and we still care for one another. So it's not like we're going to be just down and out. So
now, I happen to agree with you, and I have my reasons why I think you guys shouldn't be 2-8 either. But for a player that's in the locker room and on the field, why don't you think you guys should be 2-8? Why do you think you're better than what your record might show?
A lot of the games we've given away, it hasn't been a lot of what the other team has done. It's been more so what we didn't do, and the one little play there, one little play here and there. And so it's just like, it's literally like a sum of probably 10 plays that we could change our record and be completely turned around. So but obviously the past is in the past, and got to keep moving forward, and that's the only reason we can continue to get better and just go out and showcase what we can do and just continue to get wins.
1-5 in 1-score games, and really that Bengal game, it ended up being a 10-point loss, but that was a 1-score game the entire time too. So it's really more like 1-6, right? So I'm with you on that. And a big part of that is red zone, right?
Yep.
And not just scoring touchdowns in the red zone. You guys, almost 30% of your red zone appearances, you've scored 0 points, right? You've had 7 red zone turnovers. How do you turn that part around? Because to your point, in the red zone, a couple plays here or there, a couple missed field goals, however you want to look at it, some of these 1-score games could go a lot different. So what can get better in the red zone to just get more points on the board to match maybe some of your other offensive metrics?
Definitely just locking in on the details, especially whenever we get down there, just honing in even more than what we had already done to get down there, whatever it was that we may have done. And then obviously just taking care of the ball, whether that's as a runner, not fumbling, doubling trouble like we call it, putting both hands covering the ball. This is especially with this team that we're going to be going against. They like to go after the ball, and obviously you want to do your best to do what you can to get open for the quarterback, and obviously we hope that they make the right choices back there as well. And so I think we get all those things covered up, and we'll be scoring points.
When you had a chance to take the 20,000 look at the team at the bye, when you're kind of chilling at home, just relaxing, what are some of the things that came to mind for you? And even when you got back with your coaches in your meetings Monday and Tuesday, that aside from the red zone stuff, which we already touched on, that you think would be some of the, maybe easy is the wrong word, but some of the, easier things to pinpoint that you can say, all right, if we turn these couple things around, we can make the second half of the year a lot better than the first half?
I know from a receiver standpoint, we want some more explosives, just having shorter drives. Let's have a couple 3-4 play drives rather than some 10 play drives. So
you guys lead the league in average driving. I'm not sure if you guys knew if you knew that.
So we want to, as for us, we want to hit a couple more big plays just to give our O-line some more breathing room, and then even allow our defense. I feel like even with explosives, our defense kind of gets excited with those, and it kind of allows them to go out there and play better as well.
What can the wide receiver unit as a group, and I know you guys are on the jugs machines all the time, to try to clean up some of those passes that I'm sure you think you should have came up with, but especially in critical spots as a group, maybe you guys haven't come up with some of the balls you think you should have.
I mean, that's just catching the ball, looking it all the way in, not trying to do too much. I feel like we feel like we're also dynamic with the ball in our hands. We try to do a lot after, sometimes before we make sure we secure the catch.
Got to catch it first, right?
Yeah, I know. Especially, I know that's one thing for me. I definitely was trying to harp on myself with was looking it all the way in and working on my catch mechanics and things like that with my trainer back at home. But just definitely doing a lot of different things just to make sure that we're right there on top of everything. So.
For you, how do you think your season's gone so far? I know you're very excited about this year. We talked in the offseason, first year where you're not rehabbing, you're not a rookie. It's like a real offseason. You can actually get ready for the season the right way. How do you think the season's gone for you?
I feel like the season's gone all right. Obviously, feel like there were some things out there that I wish I had back, but really feel like for this final half of the year, can really go out there and showcase what I really can do, and looking forward to getting down the field a little bit more and just continue to get open.
Do you feel yourself still improving as an athlete as you get off of further away from the injury? Or are you still, you think, accelerating?
Yeah, no question. I mean, there's still some movements out there that I may not be comfortable doing because I hadn't done it before. And some things I might see on tape, and it's just kind of like, okay, week by week, it's each week is getting better, whatever I can or can't do. So definitely feeling speed and explosiveness all the way back, and just making sure that I'm always there and good with my routes. So
one question we get from fans a lot, and I'd like to get your answer to it. They say, I don't understand, why do the Giants on like a 3rd and 7 throw a 5-yard pass in front of the sticks? But I try to explain, look, those plays are designed to create separation to get a yak after the play. So explain from an X's and O's inside the room receiver football standpoint why fans should not be driven nuts by seeing that 5-yard catch on a 3rd and 7.
Well, obviously, there might be a route that's behind yours where you can't get enough depth, where your depth is kind of limited to a certain point. Like for example, that Carolina game, I was kind of limited to how deep I could get when the DB broke the ball up. But and then some of the options routes as well. You're kind of working your man, and then whenever you break open, that's kind of what those routes are, kind of catch and run and good ball placement, and allow you to do things after the catch with it. So usually whenever you catch a 5-route option, you should definitely be able to get some more after it as long as you have some good ball placement.
All right, Malik Neighbors, how has he handled kind of all the ups and downs of this year just for the team? I'm sure he's never probably lost this many games in a season in his life. That's tough. He said between the concussions, some of the drops for him too. How has he handled all of this as a rookie in the NFL, which I'm sure can't be easy?
Yeah, I mean, especially for him, I mean, he's handled it like a pro. Can't imagine you're thrown into the fire, number 6 pick, and you get drafted into the New York media. And obviously some of the things that have happened that were unfortunate, and he's made too many plays for him to keep his head down and dwell on those, but he's handled like a pro. He's coming in each and every week trying to get better. Whatever he can do to help us out, help any of his other teammates out, he's going to do so. Do
you still see his ceiling and what he does in practice, and it's sky high?
Oh yeah, no doubt. There's definitely usually a play or two a day. It's just kind of like, damn, what the heck? How did he do this? And so, he's definitely special, and he's a really good dude as well, even whenever it comes off the football.
Do you think Hyatt's ability to get more involved in Munich might be a little bit of a preview of things to come for the rest of the year?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, just continue to work and practice and showcase what you can do there. And whenever your opportunities come in the game, you got to make the most of them. So I felt like what he did against the Panthers was really good, and felt like the coaches really liked what he did. So hopefully seeing him more out there.
All right, I want to talk to you real quickly about the Bucs. Does a game like this get you excited for a team that blitzes so much and plays mans that you have a chance to get some of those one-on-one opportunities?
For sure. I definitely like teams that pressure, and then whenever they aren't pressuring, it's just a lot of zone. So I feel like I can read zone coverages pretty well as well. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited.
What are some of the keys for an offense to do well against a team that brings pressure as often as they do?
Well, one, you just got to communicate, especially for those guys up front and the backs, and whenever we are throwing the ball, communicating and sorting out the pressures and things like that. And then for us, it's making sure that we're on our landmarks and being where we're supposed to be on time, obviously because they got guys coming. So
And then finally, what do you see from their secondary? I know Jamel Dean might be back this week, one of their better corners. What do you see from him and kind of the rest of their defensive backfield? Antoine Winfield's obviously a tremendous player.
Yeah, no, they're a really good back end. Played against Winfield my freshman year of college, so got a little bit of history with him. But I mean, the corners are an athletic group. Nichols, physical guy. So we're excited to go against those guys, but definitely got to come ready.
Well, no, good stuff. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Huddle up, get in here. If you're lined up here, you gotta go over the middle with it to score.
Right. How do we make that happen?
I don't know.
But Citizens does.
Make sense of your money with Citizens, official bank of Eli Manning.
Giants Huddle Podcast is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. From game day celebrations to your everyday financial needs, Big Blue fans can get the most out of every moment with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants. Always fun talking to Wan'Dale, really down-to-earth, nice guy, a good receiver. Fun to talk to him today. All right, let's head over to Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. He is our scouting report on the Buccaneers. And now we're joined by Scott Reynolds. He does a great job covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Pewter Report. Scott's joined us before. Scott, your season's going a little bit better than the Giants, though you're dealing with a losing streak of your own. How you doing today, man?
Doing good. Just waiting for one of these teams to win a game. 5-game losing streak for the Giants, 4-game losing streak for the Bucs. I think something's got to give. We don't want to see this game end in a tie.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'll get to the specifics and the injuries in a second, but both these teams have had a similar issue where they've played a ton of close games here, but they just haven't been able to close them out at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And really, it's Todd Bowles' defense that's been the culprit. You go back to the overtime losses at Atlanta and at Kansas City, and then most recently, right before the bye week, losing 23-20 to the 49ers. Todd Bowles' defense was on the field on all three of those games and allowed the game-winning score, whether it's field goal or touchdowns. And that's really been frustrating because he's a defensive-minded head coach, helped this team win a Super Bowl in 2020, and it just has not found the right buttons to push this year. Tampa Bay's pass defense is terrible. Their scoring defense is bad. They've not even stopped the run exceptionally well. So they're searching for answers, and the pass rush has not really gotten home. This team has not picked off a pass since week 6 when they had an interception or two against Spencer Rattler in New Orleans. So they're going to have to really rebound, and this should be a get-well game for Todd Bowles' defense, given the fact that the Giants struggle to score points. But Todd Bowles has also made unheralded quarterbacks look formidable, and that might be the case with Tommy DeVito.
All right, so let me follow up before I get to the injuries then. Why do you think the defense is having so many issues? I know the Bucs have lost some guys personnel-wise. We could talk about the cornerback position, obviously. Jamel Dean might be back this week. But you still have Vita Vea up front. I know you don't have the edge rushers you used to have, but Todd Bowles' system is fairly proven, right? It's been good in this league for a good amount of time. So why do you think the defense has struggled as much as it has?
Well, I don't know that he's adapted too much. He runs some quarters. He'll play that cover 3 fire zone defense, and it's these aren't new defensive schemes. These are defensive schemes that have been around, and you have to evolve in the NFL. It's adapt or die, and we've seen offenses evolve, and we've seen some defenses evolve, but I don't know that there's been an evolution here. I think Todd has stuck to what he's done so much that it's kind of detrimental now. Plus, on top of that, you pay a playmaker like Antoine Winfield Jr., who might have had the best defensive season of any defender in the league last year. We're talking over 120 tackles, 3 interceptions, 6 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, a Herculean-type year. And he does have a scoop and score this year, but has not been involved in any other turnovers. And he's missed 4 games due to injury. You mentioned injuries. That's been part of the reason why this defense has been so disjointed. Jamel Dean's missed 4 games earlier in the season. Winfield missed 4 games. They lost Servassier Dennis, their best coverage linebacker, in week 4 to a season-ending shoulder injury. He was really the best linebacker on the team. And they just have not had that pass rush. So it's really been a struggle for Todd Bowles to press the right buttons to get this defense going. But his playmakers have not made plays this year, the guys that he's counted on to, and they're still searching for answers coming out of the bye week.
It's funny you mentioned the Bucs no pick since week 6. You said the Giants haven't had one since week 1 against Sam Darnold, and that was a deflection that got picked off by a rookie linebacker Darius Muasau. So their secondary doesn't have an interception since week 1, which is, eventually a quarterback should probably just airmail one and it should go right to your safety, right? Especially when you're second in the league in sacks. But for some reason that hasn't really happened yet this year for the Giants. Jamel Dean, how much can he maybe impact what the Bucs are going to do with their pressure rates and their blitz packages? They obviously need guys to cover one-on-one. I know Dean does have the traits of a guy that, you could probably put out there on Malik Neighbors and feel like he's going to be able to hold his own a little bit.
Yeah, and at the same time, though, he's coming back when the team might be without Zion McCollum, who might be a game-time decision. So Todd Bowles would love to have both of his starting corners out there, because the times that has not happened, and when he said one starter, Zion McCollum, he can shut down guys, but not having that other guy presents some target opportunities. And Malik Neighbors has proven to be a dangerous guy. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet, because he does have that 4.35 speed and has not really stretched the field as often as the Giants would have liked. 10-yard receiving average, longest play 39 yards.
Yep.
But maybe this is the game where he is put up against the opposite cornerback from Jamel Dean, and whether it's Josh Hayes or the newcomer Troy Hill, and really has some opportunities down the field if Tommy DeVito can push the ball down the field. So, it concerns me because, again, Todd Bowles, there have been some games where, if you look at Bo Nix's coming out party, it was against Todd Bowles' defense, back in week 3, where Nix had thrown 4 interceptions and no touchdowns and had a complete role reversal and played like he's playing now, and that started in Tampa Bay. So Tommy DeVito can hurt you scrambling and also extending plays with his mobility, and they're going to have to plaster these Giants receivers, whether it's Slayton, whether it's Wan'Dale Robinson or Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, and you mentioned the big play stuff. Neighbors has not had a 20-yard reception since he returned from that concussion 4 weeks ago. So the big plays, he's got a lot of targets, a lot of catches, but the big plays have not been there in the last month or so of football for him. Final one of the defense. How about the run defense? Vita Vea, we know what a great player he's been. Is he still playing at that level on a down-in, down-out basis, or is that one of the issues they're having with the run defense?
Yeah, the defensive tackles have played exceptionally well. I think Vita had a fantastic game at Kansas City, 10 tackles, 2 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. Kalijah Kancey, the other defensive tackle, last year's first-round pick, he had a pair of sacks against Mahomes as well in Kansas City. He's come on. He's got 4 sacks in the last 5 games since he's returned from a calf injury that cost him the first part of the season. So the defensive tackle position is not a problem. Even Logan Hall, they're kind of disappointing former top pick. He's got 3 sacks on the season. So it's not the interior of the defensive line. It's on the edges where they really have struggled. And so maybe Tyrone Tracy today finds some success off tackle or getting to the outside. Tampa Bay's linebackers are not very fast. KJ Britt's pretty slow. Levante David slowing down at age 34. We've really seen that kind of fall off this year in his play. He can still get it done, but not that playmaker that he used to be. So Tyrone Tracy, I could see with that 5.1 yard average having a pretty decent day against Tampa Bay, and I think they'll lean on the running game, trying to get that going to help Tommy DeVito not put all the pressure on him to make plays. And then the other thing too is Tampa Bay's not tackled well, so that's going to lend itself when you've got a back that has some size at 5'10", 210 pounds to break some tackles. They allowed Kirk Cousins, who's a statue, to run 13 yards for a first down back in Tampa in week 9 or week 10. And so, they need to tackle better. And that's not just Tyrone Tracy. That's also the yards past the line of scrimmage that DeVito can get with his legs on scrambles.
Yeah, with all the talk about Saquon Barkley departing, the Giants' run game and Tyrone Tracy has probably been the best part of their offense. That really has not been the problem, ironically. Right. All right, let's go to the Bucs offense. And, Scott, I think they've done an admirable job keeping up, moving the ball without Chris Godwin. Mike Evans has been out. Yeah. Tristan Wirfs has missed time. And now you're starting to get some of those guys back. So give me a status report, kind of where we are overall with this Bucs offense and who we might see on the field on Sunday.
Well, it looks like Mike Evans will play in this game. That's good news because they've certainly missed having a credible wide receiver out there. It's really been Cade Otton, a tight end, who's had to step up for Baker Mayfield. And really a lot of credit goes to rookie offensive play caller and offensive coordinator Liam Cohen. He has done a masterful job. When this team was at full strength through the Baltimore Ravens game, they were averaging 30 points per game, and that was like up there in the top 3 or 4 teams in the league. And since losing both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and Godwin's out for the year with the dislocated ankle, in that Ravens game, the Buccaneers still put up 24 points on offense against the Falcons, and then 24 points on the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. And that's a much better defense with Chris Jones and everybody up front. And then they put up 20 points against, again, another stout defense with the 49ers, missed an opportunity or two in the red zone for even more points. But the fact that Liam Cohen has the creativity, the adaptability, the high football IQ to lean on the running game and really involve Bucky Irving and Rashad White in the screen game and in the passing game, it's allowed Baker Mayfield to still move the ball, put up points, and keep this team in games. The problem has not been on the offensive side, even without Evans and Godwin. It's been on the defensive side. So now you have Mike Evans back. The concern in Tampa, though, is does Baker Mayfield try to force the ball to him a little too much just because he's back and he's been missed? I think that he has to let Evans's plays come to him, but at the same time, this will free up some things offensively for some other players. I think now you're going to see coverages roll towards Evans' side, and that should give more opportunities for single coverage against some of these other targets that Tampa Bay has.
And have teams play 2 safeties back against a run game.
Yeah.
That I think you guys have really developed a really impressive 2-headed monster. Rashad White is your pass receiver, also kind of your, downhill power back.
Yeah.
While Bucky Irvin has, it's funny. I love this college tape, but I kept saying to myself, he's like really small and not fast. So how is he going to succeed in the NFL? And lo and behold, the tape held up. He's been doing a heck of a job. He's
been that guy. He doesn't have like the breakaway speed that Warwick Dunn had coming out of Florida State back in '97 when he was like rookie of the year and burst on the scene. You had Mike Allstott and Warwick Dunn, the WD-40 backfield. But he runs like Warwick Dunn, and the fact that he's small, he's 5'9", 192 pounds, a little bit heavier than Dunn was, not as fast, doesn't have the breakaway speed, but he's ripped off some 30-yard runs because he's very elusive, has great vision, has a very kind of instinctive running style that makes the first guy miss, gets to the second level with regularity, just is missing that extra gear to go from the second level to the third level and take a 17-yard run and turn it into a 70-yard run. He's not that guy, but he's very effective. And the NFL, by and large, is not a 70-yard touchdown run league. That's in college. But if you can rip off these 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15-yard runs, like it works. And I think you look at the top 2 rookie rushers in the NFL, it's Tyrone Tracy, right, who has the title right now, and a few yards behind him is Bucky Irving. Both those guys are averaging 5.1 yards per carry. And I think really at the end of this game, the running back who has the most yards is probably going to be on the winning team, because both of these teams are going to come in looking to run to win this game. It's going to be a big staple of the offense for both teams because the passing game is not as robust without Chris Godwin as it is in Tampa. And Tommy DeVito is, going to be playing for the first time this year, really. So I think that this will come down to whoever has the better game between Tyrone Tracy and Bucky Irving probably will be on the winning team.
Final question. I'll make it a 2-parter for you, Scott. Tristan Wirfs, where are we with him in the Bucs offensive line? And then part 2 of that, is Baker still a little bit reckless? I think it's too strong of a word, but will he still, with his confident way of playing, put the ball into some areas and give the defense a chance to make some plays on the ball?
He did that a little bit against the Falcons without having Mike and Chris in the game. But the last 2 games against the Chiefs and the 49ers, he's done a really good job of avoiding interceptions. Again, the concern there is with Mike Evans back, is he going to get a little too greedy and try to force things in there, make up for lost time with Mike? That's something he has to safeguard himself against there. And I think that he knows that the margin for error for the Buccaneers is not great at all. Like this will come down to whoever wins the turnover battle probably wins the game. Matter of fact, the Buccaneers have actually been +1 in the turnover margin over the last 2 games against the Chiefs and the 49ers and still lost close games. So if Baker throws an interception or 2, they're not going to win this game. And I think he realizes that. To Tristan Wirfs' point, The injury that he sustained against the 49ers was not as bad as it initially seemed. It's a PCL sprain, or I believe it's an MCL sprain. So he actually was practicing this week. I don't think the team plays him. They're going to make sure when he comes back, he's going to come back for good. Justin School is the swing tackle, and he got some playing time against the 49ers last week, gave up a sack to Nick Bosa. There's no shame in that. Bosa is one of the best pass rushers in the league. But School started 4 games at right tackle this year in place of Luke Gedeke and got better every single week that he played after a rough outing in Detroit when he gave up 3 sacks to Aiden Hutchinson. But the fact that he's played, I think, gives this team some confidence. But it's really going to be decided in the trenches. When you look at the rookie Graham Barton, the center, against Dexter Lawrence, that's a key matchup to watch. But also to the tackles, Luke Gedeke on the right side, Justin School, that backup tackle on the left side. Can they keep Brian Burns and Azeez Ojulari off of Baker Mayfield and let him find Mike Evans and have enough time to find him downfield?
Yeah, and it looks like Kayvon Thibodeau will be back as well this week. And they better not just have Graham Barton try to block Dexter Lawrence by himself, because that does not generally go well for anybody that plays center or guard in the league. And I'll leave it with this, Scott, as we say goodbye. You mentioned the turnover stuff for the Bucs. Here's a stat you can use on your stuff over the weekend.
Okay.
So the Giants have played 10 games this year. They have not won the turnover battle in any game. They've been either even or minus in every single game this year.
Wow.
I had the folks over at Stats Inc. look this up for me. They have stats going back to 1950. It is the longest single-season streak in the history of the New York Football Giants.
Wow, that's something, and unfortunately that speaks to the record. You have to protect the ball to win the game more often than not, and if you're not winning the turnover battle, you're probably not winning the games.
Yeah, Giants are 2-2 in the games where they've been even, and they are 0-6 in the games where they've been negative. So they'll try to break that streak this weekend. Scott, good stuff, my friend. Tell the folks where they can find all your fantastic work.
Yeah, you can check us out on pewterreport.com. We'll have full Bucs Giants game coverage. You can follow us on social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
Scott, good stuff, man. Enjoy the game on Sunday. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
If you want to know how to manage 2 minutes of crunch time football, I'm your man. But if you're wondering about a long-term financial plan, you should talk to Citizens. Hey, I can also talk lawn care.
I'd like to learn about a mowing routine.
Yes, I knew I could help. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
Giants Huddle Podcast is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants. Citizens will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation for each scoring drive during the 2024 season. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants. Good stuff from Scott. We appreciate him joining us, getting us all the insight we need on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now let's turn to the head coach of the NYG, Brian Daboll, with the voice of the NYG, Bob Papa.
As always, we're joined by the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. Giants coming off the bye. Coach, obviously you made the switch at quarterback. That news broke earlier this week. How has the team reacted, and how has Tommy DeVito reacted to the workload this week as far as getting ready for this specific game?
Yeah, Tommy's doing everything he can do to prepare himself to play against a tough defense, a pressure defense, and everybody else is trying to do the same thing. They're trying to improve everything they can improve, players, coaches, to get ready to play a good game.
Coach, obviously last year he got 6 starts for you, and he played well for you in the preseason this year. What areas of growth have you seen in him from going year 1 as an undrafted rookie free agent to year 2 of the NFL?
Well, he's been in the system for a year, and I think experience helps. He's got to play, start 6 games last year and playing a couple other ones. Time will tell in terms of him getting out there and playing. And, there's areas of improvement that we've talked to him about, and he's working hard to improve on them.
All right, one of the things that's been great for you guys is Tyrone Tracy and, a combination of he and Devin Singletary and the entire run game. Talk about the challenges that you're going to have to deal with today going against this Tampa Bay front led by Vita Vea.
Yeah, that's the start of it. He's a tough man to block. We're going to have to do a good job of getting a hat for a hat, and there'll be some tough yards in there, but being able to run the football has been good for us. It helps us with everything else, staying on track, minimizing some third down situations where they really like to get after the quarterback. So it'll be an important part. It'll be a tough challenge. They have a lot of good players, David's been historically a good player. Winfield, Vita Vea, Diaby has really come on here in his second year, and it'll be a challenge, but something that we're going to have to do a good job with.
Todd Bowles has always been about kind of bringing pressures, and they do it in a lot of different ways. How important is it, for communication? Obviously, it's a home game, so crowd noise shouldn't be a factor, but being able to communicate, because he's going to give a lot of different looks as far as ways that he likes to get to his pressure.
Yeah, no question about it. Todd's been doing it for a long time. Worked with him back in 2011. He's been successful at doing it. He gives you a variety of looks. They're challenging. It was a long week getting ready for him because of the looks that they present. And we're going to have to do a good job of communicating, the center position, the quarterback position, all the linemen tied in together. It'll be important to try to stay out of those situations as well. The second and longs, the third and longs, where there's a variety of them, and it requires a tremendous amount of detail, communication to be able to operate. You see so many games that they've played, and there's a lot of free runners on the quarterback in the pass game or in the run game. So we're all going to have to be tied in. That'll be a huge element to this game.
Go to the other side of the ball. Baker Mayfield in year number 2 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's accounted for the third most touchdowns of any quarterback in the NFL. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and then Baker Mayfield's accounted for 26. 24 passing, 2 running. He's a gunslinger. We saw the play that he had against San Francisco where he's, basically stiff-arming a defensive lineman and still getting a completion out of it. What is it about Baker that creates such a burden and pressure on a defense?
Yeah, he's a very smart player. Had an opportunity to meet Baker back in 2018 when we looked at quarterbacks. He's strong. He's accurate. He's a competitor. He's a fiery competitor, I would say, and a leader. He's not afraid to pull the trigger. He plays with good timing. Players rally around him. You can see the leadership that he has, and he's done a nice job here at Tampa Bay, and he's had his own journey. And when we evaluate him and worked him out and got to meet him, was a big fan of him then. And he's had his own journey in the NFL, and he's really doing a nice job here with Tampa.
Someone that you know and that I know well, Charlie Weiss, was a big fan of Baker, and he always said he's like a Pied Piper. He's a natural leader, and teammates gravitate toward him. Do you see that when you watch the film of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that he is sort of that central figure in kind of rallying the team?
Yeah, absolutely. Saw that back in 2018. He's got a good way about himself in terms of how he plays and bringing people along with him, giving guys opportunities to make plays, and he trusts what he sees. He lets it rip, and he plays with a very aggressive mindset, whether he's throwing the ball or at times running with the football.
Speaking of running, they have 2 backs that bring little different styles, but they can bring a level of physicality that's pretty impressive. Talk about White and Irving and the challenges that they put against the defense, because they both can catch the ball out of the backfield. They make explosive plays. What are some of the things that make them unique and that will be difficult for your defense to deal with today?
Yeah, I'd say they both have great contact balance, vision, open field running, all the things that good running backs have, and they do it at a high level. They got good speed, short space quickness, make yards when they get the ball in their hand. That's the most important thing for a running back, and both of them do that well.
Coach, obviously they lost Godwin, who's a good vertical threat, and Mike Evans is coming off a hamstring injury. When you look at Evans, I mean, he's got this streak of 1,000-yard receiving years in a row, and he's really good with contested balls. When you're dealing with a guy like a Mike Evans, is something that have to be reminded your players is like at any moment the ball's coming and the play's never over with him?
Yeah, one of the better receivers to ever do it. Impressive career. He's a very instinctive player. He's got unbelievable hands, catch radius. They'll move him in spots, and the closer you get to the goal line, the more he even shows up. And, even when he's covered at times, he's not covered because of his ball skills and his ability to adjust and make plays on contested catches. Fantastic player.
And just finally, Sterling Shepard, obviously a longtime Giant, is with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's had some success here this year. You had a chance to coach him for 2 years. He was a fantastic player for this franchise. What was it like coaching a guy like Shepard?
Yeah, lot of energy, competitive person. Very smart, instinctive receiver. Knows how to set up guys and routes, and he's been doing it for a long time too. And he's doing a nice job down there as well.
Coach, we appreciate a couple minutes. Thanks for the time, and we'll turn it around on a short week on Thursday in Dallas.
Thanks, Bob.
That's the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll.
We thank Bob, we thank Coach Daboll, we thank Scott Reynolds and Wan'Dale Robinson for joining us on this Friday edition of the Giants Huddle podcast presented by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Enjoy the game this weekend.